Welcome all, Brian here from EWPRO. Getting straight into the weekly outlook, starting with the DXY on the monthly. So I just want to point out on the monthly that we're in this wave Z and we're actually breaching this 161.8. So we may even get up to this 200 fib here. We are starting to get a bearish divergence, but if this keeps on going up, this last wave Z keeps on going up impulsively like it is, we may actually lose that bearish divergence. So yep, on the daily, nothing's changed. We got that WXY extended wave Y. We'll be looking for an X2 and then the Z up. H4, this is starting to become motive. We got a WXY. This may get up to this 161.8 here. We've lost all the bearish divergence. Yeah, so there may be a continuation up to that 161.8 in wave Y. H1, we did have bearish divergence, but now we've lost it. So yeah, we're getting a wave Y in here as well. So really, you really need to wait for a correction. Wait for this wave Y to be over. What we got a WXY. Wait for this wave Y to be over. Then we'd be looking for an X2 and a Z up to finish off this H4 wave Z. AU on the daily. So we're getting this C down. Like I've mentioned, we can get down to this 100 fib here. We are starting to get bullish divergence. H4, are we getting bullish divergence or are we losing it? Looks like we're losing the bearish divergence, bullish divergence in this one here as well. So we're getting a so it's becoming motive. We can draw the 100 fib here, sorry, the 161.8. So we can start to get down to this 161.8 here. And then we'll be looking for a correction similar size to this in X2 and then a Z down. H1, we're getting bullish divergence on the H1 still. So yeah, you really need to wait for that H4 X2 before you can really look to sell. It's very dangerous to start selling at a low. EU, I might show the monthly on this one. So we got that W running triangle in X, then we've got a wave Y, X2, and we're getting that Z down. It's breaching that 123.6, and it can come down to this 161.8. On the daily, nothing's changed. It's still a extended wave Y. You know, we've got that WX extended wave Y. We'll be looking for the X2 and then a Z down. On the H4, we got this larger correction in here as a 335 pattern. We've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and an impulse up. we're getting a WXY. We're nearly down to that 161.8. We'll be looking for an X2 and a Z down. You really have to wait for this X2 before you start to look for more downside. Again, selling down at a low is very, very risky indeed. On the H1, there really isn't much at all. You'll be waiting for that X2 on the H4 correction. GU, I might show you the monthly as well. We're getting to extreme levels here, So we're breaching that 123.6 in wave Z, and we can get down to this, down to just below parity or around parity at the 161.8. So there may be still a little bit more downside in it, but we're at lows, so you really got to be careful. It can turn at any time. On the daily, we got that WX extended wave Y. We'll be looking for that X2 and then a Z down. I have to on the H4, we're getting that Z down. We got the Z down and we've lost all the bullish divergence. So we got that WXY, X2, the Z down. It's breached all our targets. And we've lost all that bullish divergence. So I'll just be looking for a correction in here and then more downside. You really need to wait for a larger correction before you can start selling. Before you can start selling again. Like I said, you can't. Very risky to be selling at a low. And new on the daily. So we're getting that A, B, C. We are starting to get bullish divergence. We're starting to get to this 100 fib. Yeah, so then we'll have to see what happens once we start to get to these 100 fib here, whether we get a correction or a reversal. On the H4, there's really nothing. Are we getting bullish divergence? So we've lost the bullish divergence on the H4 as well. So we're getting a motive structure down in here. So you really need to wait for the X2. You really need to wait for a correction, and then you could look for that Z down. UY on the daily. We're still in this extended wave Y. We got that WX extended wave Y. We'll be looking for X2 and then a Z up. Just adjust this. On the H4, we've got a like WXY X2, and we'll be looking for that Z up. Again, there's really not much you can do here. I mean, if you get a bullish setup in here, a bullish flag, you could look for the buy, keep tight stops, and definitely be a break even at the top. The Sheppy on the daily. So we're looking for a correction a similar size to this. We've got a WXY X2 and a Z up. We're looking for that Z up. We're still waiting for this correction in here to finish. So on the H4, it's pretty much going as planned. We got this like A, B, C. Then we got the A, B, C. Then we got the A, B. We're getting this C up here. And then we'll be looking for an A, B, C down. before we get more upside to go and break the top for that wave Z on the daily. So again, this started off quite choppy on the H1. It was looking more corrective, and it started to become motive. We don't have any bearish divergence now. You'd be waiting for a correction, a similar size to this, over here, and then you'll be looking for a Z up. Excuse me. UCAD on the daily. So this has become quite a little bit motive as well. We started to get a WXY. We were losing all that bearish divergence. So yeah, this can go up to that 161.8 now. On the H4, we really need to. We got that WXY, X2, and the Z up. The Z up, we lost all that bearish divergence, so I'd just be looking for a correction in here. You really need to wait for this correction before you start buying again. Like I said, you know, buying up here is quite dangerous. Until we get that correction, you know, we really need a correction, a larger correction within here. We need a correction, some sort of a correction, and then we can look for buys. So there's really not much to trade at the moment. You're better off to stay out of the market and conserve your capital, wait for the corrections, and then look for your trades. GU on the daily. This one's really fallen over. So we've got like a WXY. We got that wave Z up. I was just looking for another correction up here by the way it was looking, because we got this like very deep pullback in here, and this stayed up here for a very long time. It's only just recently that it's the last couple of days that it's really become motive. So yeah, again, we're breaking the trend line, so you know you really need to wait for a correction, and then we can look for the sells. There really isn't any buys on it. If I just remove some of this. So on the H1 we got that WXY. We'll be waiting for an X2 and then look for that Z down. Wait for the correction. That's the safest way. Trying to sell flags down here, you know, you're going to start to get yourself into trouble. You know? EG on the daily. So like I mentioned last week or the last couple of weeks, we're looking at all this as complete in here as like A, B, C, and we've got that A, B, C. Now we're looking for the A, B, and the C up to this 100 fib. As you can see, it's starting to become very impulsive. So we're targeting this 100 fib here. On the H4, again, we do have bearish divergence. We do have bearish divergence. Like I said last week, this is still looking very much impulsive. So, you know, and we got more upside. Even though we had that bearish divergence, this was still, the price action was looking very bullish, and we broke up out of it. So really not much you can do now. We don't have any bearish divergence on the H1. So, you know, if you wanted to, you'd really want to wait for a correction, a H1 correction, and then look for your bullish setup. to buy. You know, if you're going to trade flags, be very careful and keep very tight stops if you're trading flags. And it's more scalping if you're taking flags. Gold on the daily. So I'm looking at an A, B, C. I'm still looking for this C up. It's not giving us any setups to buy. Been waiting for a setup to buy. Like I said last week, this was still looking bearish here, and it's fallen over. We don't have any bullish divergence. So yeah, really need to. Ideally, we get a break up above here, bullish correction or flag, and then you could look for that one up there. Until you get this set up, I'd really no, I'd be waiting for this setup to get that C up, and then we can look for more downside. Again, you know, if you're looking for flags, you can trade them. Just keep tight stops, and you're really only scalping. Looking at silver this week on the daily. So I'm looking at it like WXY for a wave W, then 1, 2, 3 in X, and then we're getting this wave Y down. We're starting to get a correction in here. So on the H4, I was really would have liked to see a little bit more upside here. I was looking for an A, B, C up. This may be complete now by the way this is falling over. So if you get any bearish setup here, you definitely can look for more downside. And we'll be looking at this wave C here as over. So we'll be targeting we'll be targeting the 100 fib. Oh, I haven't got the 100 fib on there. So you first be targeting this 100 fib here. Okay, so if you get a little bearish setup in here, look for the sell, and we'll be targeting that 100 fib. Excuse me. A little bit of a cold. WTI on the daily. So we've got a WXY. We can get down to this 161.8. We're at the 123.6 at the moment. I'll just get rid of some of these fibs. On the H4, getting this A, B, C, we'll be targeting this 100 fib here. We are starting to get bullish divergence, so you know, eventually we'll be looking for a nice impulse up, correction, and a buy setup. Looking at Bitcoin, take that off. Looking at this, looking very corrective. I'm not sure if we've actually broken the low yet. No, we haven't broken the low. This is looking very corrective, whatever's happening in here. So I'll be expecting this to go and break that low. On the H4, sort of looking at this as a flat for an A, B, and we get a C up here. So if you do get a buy setup, you can look for the buy. It's not going, it's staying down here. There really isn't giving buy setups. So yeah, there's really not much you can do. I mean, if you get a bullish flag, you can look for it, but be very careful. Keep very tight stops. S&P, we're looking at that WXY, X2, and a Z down. We are getting that bullish divergence. We're nearly down to that 161.8, which is great. So on the H4, all we got is just one wave down. If I zoom out, we got that like A, B, C. Then we got an A, B, C up, completing the X2. And we're looking for that Z down. As you can see, we're nearly down to that 161.8. So you really have to start to be careful. We are losing that. Yeah, on the H1, we are getting bullish divergence. So to start to sell down at this low is starting to get very risky. AU 200. This is very, very much similar. We got that W, X, Y, X2, and we're getting that Z down. We can get down to this 161.8 here. I dare say we're starting to get bullish divergence. There still is a little bit more downside in it, I think. I was looking for we rolled out that wave Z. This was the invalidation point for the bull hidden. It never went. If it was going to go, it was going to go there. Like I mentioned a couple of weeks ago. Now we haven't got any bullish divergence, so more than likely there's more downside in it. Again, we've lost the bullish divergence on the H1 as well, but you really want to wait for a correction. Wait for your correction, a nice correction, and then you can look for more downside. Until we get those corrections, there's really not much you can do. You're better off to stay on the sideline and conserve your capital. DXY, we're looking at WXY, A, B. I'll be looking for a C up. Because I'm looking at this as a B, C in here. And then we get an A, B, C. We are getting bullish divergence on the H4. So that's nice to know, but again, there is no buy setup. It's more bearish. It's starting to get a little bearish flag in here. Again, if you wanted to sell it, you could sell it. Just keep very tight stops and just scalp it. Just scalp it short. The FTSE on the daily, still trying to work out what sort of structure this is. Sort of got an A, B, C up in here as a like contracting flat, and then we get an A, B, and we're getting a C down. So again, we can start to look at that as the structure now. It's very flat. So you'd be targeting this 100 fib here, on the H4. It's really difficult. I mean, We got a bear hidden in here, and we're getting that one down. We are getting bullish divergence, so it does become risky. Again, very similar to the DAX, you know, we're getting a little bearish flag in here. You know, if you take it, you know, keep tight stops and just scalp it. So that's it for this week. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.